So Caitlin Clark was fired up all day on Friday. First, obviously, the big news: Stephanie White hired by the Indiana Fever, the new head coach. Something Caitlin Clark clearly agrees with. Clearly, Caitlin Clark has respect for head coach Stephanie White, respect that is mutual, and she wasn't hesitant to show it, right? As soon as the news came out on the Fever side of things, she's writing Fever Show in the Instagram comment, and you can almost hear her say that, like that enthusiasm. Since covering her, I've gotten to see more and more of that enthusiastic nature. She sort of wears that on her sleeve, her hype, her emotions, those sort of things. And she's fired up about it. She's fired up about Stephanie White, who she respects her basketball mind. She respects the fact that she supported her. The second one's kind of a big deal because a lot went in Clark's direction, and not everybody had her back in an emphatic fashion. Even Christy Sides didn't, diss her or not support her, I guess, but didn't really stand on it. And it feels like Stephanie White is willing to stand on it. She's already called her a generational player and all that. It feels more like Caitlin Clark coexisted with Christy Sides. And then there's the basketball mind part of it, which is even more important because Clark is obviously a basketball savant. She respects Stephanie White's approach to the game. That is going to manifest itself in good vibes and everything like that. Christy Sides, it took her a long time before she relented to Clark's style. Now, to her credit, she eventually did, but it was a bit of a fight. I remember in the preseason, she was making comments about shot selection and the like that fans weren't thrilled with. So you can't, fake that. You can't fake when you don't feel a certain way. And you could see it in Clark's face and body language that it wasn't like she was throwing a mutiny against Christy Sides or overtly disrespecting her, but they didn't vibe like that. They didn't vibe like that. While clearly she vibes like that and feels that way about Coach Stephanie White, who says, Clark just wants to win, just wants to play. And then Caitlin Clark remained fired up later in the day because she winds up going to the Taylor Swift show. And she posted as much that she was fired up, as you can see. I'm fired up about the Eras tour. She's in the building, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, the last U.S. stop on Taylor Swift's tour. Caitlin was there just like as a fan, right? Like she wasn't brought on stage. They didn't make a show of it, but Caitlin Clark is so famous, people are going to grab the pictures. And looks like she was trading friendship bracelets with fans. I've learned that is a custom at Taylor Swift concerts. It's a reference to a Taylor Swift lyric, and then a display of kinship in the fandom amongst the Swifties. Caitlin looked like she was happy to be there at the show. It didn't look like she was having a bad time, that's for sure. Maybe those were the same people she was doing the bracelet thing there with. And I guess she's in a suite, as you can see. But, Caitlin's a genuine fan of Taylor Swift. And it's not the only time they've been connected. Remember when Caitlin Clark liked Taylor Swift's presidential endorsement? That was a story. They've recently been on Time magazine cover right next to each other. I don't think that was a coincidence. The placement of those two and that Time women's edition that was put out. Taylor Swift's fans have even rallied around Caitlin Clark when Angel Reese had Travis Kelce's ex on. And then I think the fans figured out the context of the Reese Clark thing. So they went to rally around Clark, especially after they found the old post from Caitlin Clark declaring her allegiance or fandom to Taylor Swift. And then there's the more phenomenon comparison where you're just talking about being famous, right? Like, because Taylor Swift, to me, I found out who she was because of Kanye West. I mean, I didn't know who she was before that whole moment. I'm gonna let you finish, but and people got pissed at that, and of course she was popular before that, but I didn't know who she was, and I found out who she was through that moment. And I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan. I recognize her power though and popularity. I mean, she shows up in an NFL game and she's the star attraction, which is hard to do. The NFL is the single most popular thing in this country. And that's how you know she's got the juice. She's got the motion. I will say, I don't love her pop songs as much. Like I don't like Shake It Off, but Folklore is a hell of an album. And anybody who makes a body of work that good, I have respect for. But the comparisons come in the star power aspect, which was even something that Stephanie White addressed and referenced. You know, on a podcast she did. I think it was with Scott Agnes, the Fieldhouse Files, in April. You know, these people were in the lobby of the hotel just to get a glimpse of Caitlin Clark and this Iowa Hawkeye team. In fact, yesterday I was talking to somebody who said that she's the Taylor Swift of women's basketball. That's how she's being referred to from a non-basketball person. It's the craziness of this team and Caitlin Clark's ability right now to captivate a national audience. So you're talking about that power where Caitlin Clark shows up somewhere, does something like this, and I'm talking about it. She's in the car with Lexi Hull trying beverages, and I'm talking about it. Like, that's the level of fame that she has achieved. And that's where the comparison to Taylor Swift also comes into existence. But, you know, there is no direct link from the two. Maybe they've spoken, I don't know. But, you know, it's really, Caitlin is a fan of Taylor Swift. So she was fired up and, you know, feeling 22, maybe, like her old coach on the Fever. But I get I've been told, made aware that Caitlin Clark's favorite Taylor Swift song is not 22. So maybe she wasn't feeling 22 and instead was feeling enchanted.
Taylor Swift! Woo!
There's some of that enthusiasm I was talking about before. As you can see, Caitlin Clark fired up about singing some Taylor Swift. And Caitlin Clark was fired up about going to the Taylor Swift concert. And I think Freudian slip. Sorry. Caitlin Clark was fired up about the Indiana Fever hiring head coach Stephanie White. So, I can't confirm this on the record because no one has told me directly, but I get the sense that Caitlin Clark had a very good day. Actually, I guess she did tell us all directly. She put it right there in writing. Fever show and fired up.